So really textbook Bollinger Band reversal play. Fat Bands told us reversal, looked for a reversal confirmation, then played this move higher. Didn't get full follow through, but great entry, gave us a great result and a fantastic trade. Enjoy.
QQQ, right? Could be setting up as a buy the dip on strong reversal volume, right? Potentially consolidating bottom of that Bollinger Band, right? Fat bands tell us reversal to the mean, right? So we're hanging out lower band, right? If we can go bullish engulfing on volume, bullish engulfing candle, stop loss, right? Kind of this low of day area. You know, this is telling us, right? Or this is closer to what our trading plan was, right? Oh, big gap down, you know, look for that sort of trend continuation, maybe fill this gap back up towards sort of that 296 barrier. We want to see this candle close with some strength. Otherwise, we're going to have to default this to sort of a longer time frame. But, I mean, certainly looking better, right? Closer to sort of what our narrative was. Tesla, not as appealing, right? Even though this is a stronger looking volume profile, there's not as much room here, right? So we kind of have a couple half levels. We have, you know, previous high a day and then sort of top band on the BB, right? So stack those up back to back or stack those up together. You know, you don't really know where your risk reward target should be. So then, you know, we have to target $1 away, right? When our stop loss needs to be $5 away. It's probably realistically not going to come together. Not sure if this is a strong enough candle shape. Right, but it did close above previous high. So what I'm looking to do is try to qualify the quality of this confirmation candle. So we got to close above the previous high. And so previous close above high, right, on building volume certainly tells me a little bit of strength. The top wick of that candle is giving me a little bit of pause. So I just want to make sure that we don't get a fake out entry before we get a pullback. So that's really what my main objective is here. So I'm just trying to get a little bit more information or a little bit more like kind of context on what this strength actually looks like. Realistically, our target's 296 area. So risk reward here is probably already in play, right? But that's not a reason to jump into this right away, right? $1.30 stop loss for 260. So it's just right on 2-to-1 at the moment, right? But $1.30 stop loss is still like a 40% stop loss on the options. That's more than I want to take. So if I could have that, right? If I could get a 20% stop loss, a 10% stop loss, a 15% stop loss, awesome, right? So I want to see a pullback, maybe like that 293 area, kind of like here, right? Because then I'm risking 70 cents, right, to make $3. I'm getting way better risk reward. So from within that context, right, QQQ would make a lot more sense. This might be one of those names, right, that needs to give us that inside bar, right, before this gets interesting. Only reason we want that inside bar because it actually gives us, right, a little bit more conviction or, you know, a higher probability of actually getting into the risk reward zone that we're looking for, right? Like I said, you could get the 2-to-1 risk reward here, fine. But on the position sizing or sort of my max loss number, stay within that context, I have to go baby position sizing here to take advantage of that move. So I'd rather be patient, see if I can get full port or, you know, full position sizing that I'd like, instead of chasing this from this area and being only able to play this at lotto size. Right? Because lotto size 40% stop loss. Okay, that's going to hit me my 1%, right, max loss. But then when it goes, you know, if I'm just a little bit more patient, I'll make more money if I'm right. I'll lose less if I'm wrong. And maybe I can get a bit more of a narrative to sync up before this kind of comes together. So certainly promising, I would say. There's a little bit of potential here, but I need to remain cautious. And then the only reason, right, is that the stop loss isn't the previous candle here. Previous candle's low, or that confirmation candle low. It's very clearly, right, that we found support off of that, say, 292.30 area, right? So very clear kind of shelf there, very clear kind of, you know, evidence of price action supporting off of that zone before. So I'm going to push my stop loss to that area because it seems a bit more logical. That makes sense.
So the reason I was confident that that 292.30 area was the right area for the stop loss was because we saw a fake out get basically bought at that zone. So I already have evidence of bull stepping in and defending there. And then now that I'm really all I'm watching for is just want to make sure it's not making a higher high before I get a pullback into my zone. I don't want to see basically bulls fail in their attempt to reclaim control before I can get my entry.
Yeah, this is pretty gross off the open, right? Every candle's wiki. I would say probably not. I wouldn't say you'd focus more on QQQ than the SPY. Apple's still the largest holding in the SPY, right? Same as it is QQQ. The actual weighted difference isn't going to be that significant. Okay, so now let's watch the reaction here, right? Watching QQQ, Jan 31 calls. Right? Probably looking at like the 296s. So again, right? Want to now inside the zone. I always want to look for that tennis ball bounce back price action, right? I haven't quite gotten it yet. So I'll wait for this candle to close here, right? And I'm going to watch closely. I'm watching 296 calls, Jan 31st expiration. All right, guys, I am in. Average price, 87 cents. Average price, 87 cents.
So when I say that I want to see the tennis ball bouncing, I basically want to see that bullish price action eat up all the supply. So if it bounces lower, it should bounce back very quickly. Otherwise, it tells me they're not eating it up.
Okay, I'm actually going to look to take some off here in a second, right? This thing's moving pretty well. Right, it's going to look to take off a little bit here at this like 97 if I can get it.
So the best trades are the ones that I'm, green on right away. Really patient with my entry, waited for a strong enough pullback into my entry zone, and then I'm up nearly 10% within 45 seconds.
Okay, creeping up, come on. Gonna take off about a quarter of my position at that area. There we go. So locked in a little bit of profit. Stop loss. Now my remainder is going to be at 90 cents. And let's see if this thing can run higher. There we go, 105. Let's go, guys. Okay, I'm gonna take off a little bit more here in a second. At 105 if I can get it. There we go. All right, so I've locked in a little bit of profit. Stop loss now, my remainder is going to be at $1. And let's see if this thing can keep breaking up. But let's go, guys. Fantastic trade. Congratulations, everyone who caught this. Textbook, right? Followed our trading plan perfectly. That's exactly what we're trying to do, right? Just a little bit of patience. We can follow our trading plan perfectly. Get a great entry or green right away. I mean, that's exactly what we want, right? That's exactly what we want on our plays.
Watching this back, honestly, very happy with this trade, right? We've already taken off profit twice before we even made new high of day. So great insurance for a fake out, setting ourselves up for a great play.
Let's go. Anyone else jump in this with me here?
So just because I'm a momentum breakout trader doesn't mean I have to chase the breakout, right? I can look for a pullback to get that insurance for my thesis. That's essentially what I'm trying to do with this play.
Let's go, Derek. Let's go. Nice work. Yes, guys. Well done. Let's go. Now we're crushing it, right? We're almost up 30% here in, I don't know, 3 minutes. That's awesome, right? So that's the objective, right? We follow our trading plan. We stick to our rules. We do not compromise, because then we get great little plays like this where we green right away, right? We've got that insurance for that high of day breakout, and we can let this thing try to become a monster, right? But this is why we don't compromise, and this is why we make our trading plan, right? What's the trend? How can we continue that trend? And then this is the best job in the world, right?
So the way I qualify a trend is through the candle shape, the candle volume, and then the price action. When 2 out of 3 of those narratives tell me the same story, then I'm confident I've got trending price action. That's what I did here.
I didn't even have time to write down the entry here. Sorry. So what I would suggest, right, is be more specific in your entry target. So don't wait to hear that I'm picking, right, a trade. Pick a number when you're, inside this zone, a number on the contracts, a number, whatever, and size your positions towards that. So if you're going to be entering after I enter or chasing my entry, you're always going to be behind. So the risk reward is going to be against you, right? Your position sizing is going to be different. All those sort of other little variables are going to work against you and ultimately going to degrade your expectation of being profitable on that trade. So once we identify that entry zone, make a specific plan for what your entry target is going to be so that you're not waiting. Generally, like I say, generally what I like to say, right, is I want to see that tennis ball bounce back reaction before I'm willing to take a stab at anything. So once I see that tennis ball bounce back once, I'm looking to buy on that next play. Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit more off here, guys, at that like 120 if I can get it.
So I just want to take profit on the way up. My objective, right, next profit target on this breakout of high of day, then I'll have 2/5 of my original position left.
I just want to basically make sure that we don't fake out above high of day and reject, right? So I want to try to keep taking some profit off on the way up. But not letting this trade go red now, right? I cannot lose money on this play. It is literally impossible.
So the way I made losing impossible here in this context, right, is I've taken profit off already twice, and I've pushed my stop loss well above my entry price. So worst case scenario, I'm protecting a very green day.
What was my last take profit? 106. Come on, Q, come on. Well done, Jesus. 35% is awesome, man. Yeah, be careful about what contracts you're playing, right? Don't be buying 0 DTE if you don't want to be buying that 0 DTE. Like I said, next profit target here, guys, 120. That's 3 cents away on the contracts. All right, basically, make high a day. I want to take some off, right? I don't want to get faked out above high a day. That's the thesis here on that profit target.
Right, high of day here is a point of confluence. So obviously you have a bit of resistance just because it's high of day, but it's also a round number at 294. So just a little bit of extra resistance there that I want to make sure I'm taking profit off instead of getting stuck under.
Okay, 1 cent. All right, there we go. Locked in a little bit of profit there at that 120. Now we're ripping, right? This is awesome. So stop loss now, my remainder is going to be like 115. And let's see if this thing can keep going higher. I have about 2/5 of my original position left, 2/5 of my original position left. And I'm going to start taking this off in smaller chunks. But I mean, guys, in at 87 cents, currently $1.26. Let's go. Right? Perfect trade, textbook trade, green right away, right? So good plan led to a good outcome here today, right? We didn't make this up. We didn't improvise this. We just followed our trading plan exactly, right? So strong reversal, bullish engulfing candle above high of day on increasing outlier volume. Look to buy a pullback into our entry zone, and then we can run this thing up towards sort of that midline on the Bollinger Bands. It's textbook, guys, right? This is why we plan, why we're so patient, why we stress, right? Not making things up as we go. Because when it comes together, it is a sweet, sweet feeling, and we make a lot of money. But if we're improvising and we're trying to give this up and we're trying to rush decisions, then we screw ourselves over and nothing good happens, right? So really good outcome, really fantastic process, really stoked on this, that we, kind of took advantage of sort of the market conditions and we identified sort of the strongest setup. And I mean, guys, 30% in 10 minutes, I mean, best job in the world, right? Best job in the world. So we'll see how much further this thing can go. But I mean, now at this point, right, I have pretty much zero reason to do anything else here today. It's a 5-figure day. So I'm just going to be chilling, right? I'm pretty happy to say markets are choppy and, you know, they're frustrating and whatever if I'm, you know, crushing it on the day. So I don't need to do anything silly. We did well, right? Taking some off, you know, trying to make sure we're avoiding that fake out on that high a day. Stop loss almost going to get triggered here. 115 stop loss on my remainder. I'm a penny away from that hitting.
As we get close to my stop loss, I'm just watching the spread of the contracts, making sure they're not too aggressive. If the spread starts to get wild, I'll cancel my order and just submit it manually.
Seems like that's a good spot. That 115's held up so far. But if we can't close above high a day, that'd probably be my trigger to get out. All right, because that wouldn't be very strong. Nice, Derek. Hey, congratulations, man. That's a fantastic result regardless. Right, remember guys, right? Big wins come from a consistent, repeatable process, not by swinging for home runs or disregarding your rules, right? So, you know, okay, if you consistently are leaving a lot of money on the table and your profit targets are too aggressive, then okay, you can learn from that, you can adjust, you can make some changes, but don't try to be super inconsistent in your application during the trade, right? Accept that you're not going to get the most out of every single trade. That's going to be okay. That's all unfortunately part of it. But we do not need to, we don't need to try to be greedy on our actions, right? When we're successful, we'll know, we'll do pretty well, we'll crush it. But want to always be just a little bit patient, a little bit cautious, right? Not trying to force things, not trying to overtrade, sticking to my plan. Because when we stick to our plan, we crush it. Yeah, 33%, man, that's awesome, Derek. That's awesome. Right, to start the week off when we're expecting a ton of chop, I mean, that's incredible. I'm going to look to take a little bit more off here, guys, at this 130 barrier. Try to get some off, like maybe 133.
So it's really the only spot in the trade where I feel like I maybe made a little bit of a mistake. I should have taken some off at that 130. Had that as my first sort of profit target and then pushed that just a little bit further down, got a little bit greedy. I think the volume profile, just looking back, right, pretty weak, maybe not telling me that momentum volume. So could have locked in a few more dollars if just a little bit more detailed.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic trade, guys, right? We talked about this even pre-market, right? If we follow our plan, like our average win is like 30% this month. So it's all about just how can I avoid my worst trades so that I can just focus on my best ones, right? That's it. That's all we're always trying to do, right? Filter out our shittiest, worst, most painful setups so that it's easy to take advantage of our best ones. So today, right, this is a victory lap to being prepared and planning out our thesis, right? 20 minutes of prep in the morning, you know, made me 35, 40% 20 minutes later. So I will take that every single day of the week. That's why the preparation is so important, right? That's why being methodical is so important. That's why identifying our risk reward zone is so important, right? Even though we had that 2-to-1 risk reward, you know, when price action was 293.50, by waiting till we could get an even better play, now we're risking, you know, 15% to make 100, right? So all of a sudden that becomes a much more sustainable path towards profitability just by being a little bit patient, right? So not compromising, you know, even if you think price isn't going to get there, it probably will. One thing I've learned over the years. So it's all about just continually stacking up those kind of, you know, positive reward structures, right? Those, when we get rewarded for a good process, that is the best trade in the world because it makes it easier to follow our process again tomorrow. And so I'm sure I probably sound crazy sometimes with how much I stress it and repeat it and you know, get annoyed when people try not to follow their plans because I know how valuable it is, right, when we do. I know how much easier it is to be successful when we do. And so that's always the objective here, right? Every single day. How can I follow my plan perfectly? Because at the very least, if I don't, I can learn from it. And if I do, I'll make a lot of money. And that's it. That's the objective day in, day out. So no compromises, right? If you like the way you traded today, focus on trading like this every single day, right? This is the sustainable path towards trading where it's in control. So that's really fun, right? That's where we get the most joy. That's where we can have sort of the most enthusiasm out there. And so always, always, always going to stress that with everyone. And I just been stopped out protecting a very, very nice day. God, I love this job, guys. Sounds good, Jesus. You have yourself a fantastic rest of the afternoon, man. Well done catching that ripper. And we'll see what else sets up here. Whew. All right, guys. I didn't have time to make myself a cup of coffee before market open because prep ran a little bit late. So I'm going to go do that now. That was an awesome start to the morning. I'm going to put a little bit of whipped cream in it this morning. But yeah, we're going to have ourselves a little bit of fun. Honestly, Derek, don't think about it that way, right? If you're going to be successful, right, you're successful by building that confidence. So the reason you didn't go full port, you didn't go full position sizing, so there was something in your process that gave you anxiety, right? So you don't want to reward that sort of decision-making process. You want to reward trading in control. So what you need to ask yourself is, what about this trade gave me that anxiety to not want to go full position, right? So maybe that's, okay, I'm just not used to options. That's great, man. Options, when the volatility goes against you, it is the worst feeling in the world. So, you know, it not running, it not being perfect, it not being like your biggest win ever, it's fine, right? But when you get better at your process, then those anxieties will get kind of taken care of, and then you'll make more money in the long term. But if you're just trying to like blunt force trauma overpower them, then it's only going to end up one way.